Hello, Rick here again, looking into the monsters and beasts of Star Trek lore, this time looking at the in- and out-of-universe favourite, the humble Targ, as well as other Klingon pets. This creature has been a staple of Klingon culture for as long as there have been Klingons. There are ancient tales of Kahless even wrestling large wild Targs with his brother Morath in their youth. These beasts are not sentient, and the closest Earth comparison is a boar, but the Targ share some characteristics of a dog. Their fur was often dark brown, black, and occasionally speckled or striped. It was coarser around the shoulders, like the mane of a lion, and erupted into a more quill-like consistency near the spine. Piercing this fur collar were horns that ran down its back to its tuft tail. Different varieties have various arrays of tusks and horns, and its boar-like snout often had at least 2 tusks from the mouth, but some Targs could have up to 8 extra horns that jutted along its jawline. Other varieties, such as the pet Targ once owned by Lieutenant Commander Worf, even had a horn from the forehead but no tusks. The Targ was a natural omnivore and forager, and existed in both domesticated and wild varieties. Targ were furred, birthed live young, and produced milk, making them mammals, unless there is some strange fact of xenobiology that I've overlooked. Wild Targ travelled in herds and could prove to be rather stubborn obstacles, so much so that Klingon ground-based convoys attached shunts to the front of their vehicles to push aside Targ herds. Individually, however, Targ were a lot less stubborn and could even be timid. They were known to hide in mud and dirt to evade confrontation, but as with all cornered animals, were unpredictable. For this reason, Targ hunting was a common and much enjoyed sport from the Klingons. Probably not enjoyable for the Targ. On a successful hunt, the Targ was captured, killed and eaten, often during a feast for some occasion, because Klingons. Every part of a Targ was useful. The meat was cooked and eaten, preferably rare and bloody, while the fat was used to make candles. Even with the existence of replicatable ones, there was still a market, as often Klingon spiritual ceremonies used them and needed real ones. I couldn't find exactly what the horns would be used for, but I'm pretty sure Klingons would use them to fashion goblets and such because they are space Vikings. Speaking of ceremonies, some, like traditional marriage, included the sacrifice of a Targ or the consumption of its raw heart. Targ blood was even used as a dressing for gach, and the milk they produced was drinkable by humanoids, so farms often included Targ for the purpose of milking as well as their meat. Confusing matters somewhat, however, is that on top of keeping herds of Targ as cattle, some were also considered pets. Domesticated Targ were owned by many prominent Klingons, including the aforementioned Worf and General Martok. Looking at these examples, we can see that Targ as pets were respected by their owners as they developed great loyalty to their masters, but would retain a wild edge that called them to the outside. Unsurprisingly, this is something that the Klingons empathised with, appreciating this mixture of loyalty but internalised wildness. Martox ran away when his wife accidentally left the door open because she didn't like it. He wasn't mad, but he did miss that beast. Targ seem to be pretty versatile in terms of their favoured environment, living practically anywhere. Considering the need for Targ shunts on the road, it seems that they are not fearful of civilization. They were known to be prolific in the Hamar mountain range, but some subsets developed thick coats allowing for survival in colder climates and thinner ones for desert biomes. This is probably where the variation in coat coloration comes from, and perhaps even the varieties in tusks and horns. For this adaptability and the close ties to Klingon culture that they possessed, the Targ were exported to practically every colony world that the Klingons had, and turned loose. I can only imagine that this really upset the local ecosystems, but hey, Klingons. Klingons often too kept livestock of Targs aboard their vessels near the galley, and the spacefaring sow seemed suitably sedate in the sealed spaceships. Popularity of the Targ transcends the Klingon Empire, however, with cuddly toys and children's stories featuring characters such as Toby the Targ, which also featured as a popular plushie toy. I wonder if they told kids that Klingons also ate some Targ. With all that Targ were used for, there were some things that they were not suitable for, however. They made poor guard animals. Although instances of Targs goring people were not uncommon, there were better choices for a Klingon looking to protect or patrol. Other Klingon pets included the Jadasha, a carnivorous lizard with dog-like proportions, one of which was owned by Crucian 2285. However, it seemed that these reptilian monstrosities were very dangerous to anyone not considered their master. Another favoured pet was the Jackal Mastiff, another dog-like creature, covered entirely in white fur and completely comfortable in Arctic climates, such as the prison planet of Aurora Penthe. This too possessed some vague reptilian features, at least facially, but other than their use as patrol dogs, not much else was shown about them. They seemed to resemble the Draculius, a large snowy predator located on Delta Vega in the Vulcan system, so perhaps these were adopted and tamed by Klingons generations ago. So, there we go, a brief analysis of the Targ, the Klingons' favourite pet, and sport. And prey, cattle, food. Look, the Klingons just really liked these weird pig-dog creatures. Thanks for watching this episode of my Trek Bestiary, and I'll hopefully see you again for another one sometime soon. I've been Rick, thanks again, so long, and goodbye.